Okay, so it looks like the playbook of Israel and America is to start a civil war in Lebanon. These guys are brilliant. Here's how they've done it. Israel has a trilateral agreement with Lebanon and the U.S. that in order for Israel to retreat from southern Lebanon and stop occupying it, the Lebanese government is going to have to disarm Hezbollah. Let me remind people that Hezbollah may be a terrorist organization by American and by not only American world standards. That might be the case, but Hezbollah has seats in parliament in Lebanon, and Hezbollah
It's
is
a
the only line
resistance
of defense.
movement. It's a resistance
Yeah,
movement.
but let's not call it a resistance movement. I don't want to go there because I don't want to get blocked. But for sure, you're right about that. But for sure, Lebanon is the southern defense. Hezbollah is the southern defense of Lebanon. So whether they're a terrorist group or not, if you take Hezbollah out of the equation, then there's nobody to defend the southern border of Israel. I mean, not of Israel, of Lebanon, which means that Israel can come in. So what Israel is telling Lebanon is that we'll leave your country, but you have to take out Hezbollah. That's basically saying we'll leave your country, but you have to take out the people who are defending the southern part of it. Afalabi, what do you think will happen once Hezbollah gives up its weapons and the southern borders of Lebanon are no longer defended by Lebanon? What do you think Israel would do?
Israel will just obliterate them in
No, they'll
the blink
occupy
of
it.
an eye.
They'll occupy it. Yeah, yeah. Let me tell you, it's like telling a wolf comes to a woman who have eggs. You said, "I'll attack your."
That
Tell her,
is
no.
why
A wolf
this
comes to
trilateral framework
any.
is almost impossible to implement practically.
No, yeah, it is. No. So what they're hoping is that Lebanon will fight. They're trying to get Lebanon to fight Hezbollah. If that happens, it's going to cause a civil war in Lebanon, and it's going to make it easier to divide Lebanon. We've heard it before. Remember the civil war in Syria? There was a civil war in Syria. Assad
Yes,
lost,
I do. I
and
do.
now the president of Syria, the
Assad.
president of Syria is,
Yeah.
yeah, he left, and now they have Al Jilani, who is a former terrorist. So what I'm trying to say is that this is how U.S. makes a memorandum of understanding, but then they do a trilateral agreement, which causes a civil war in Lebanon, and the net result is that Lebanon will be disunited and will be destroyed, and that will make Iran more susceptible to being cornered by Israel, by UAE and other countries. You get what I'm trying to say? This is
Yeah.
so the war has shifted away from Iran because they couldn't beat Iran because Iran whooped that ass. So now what they're trying to do is not focus on Iran and focus on taking down Lebanon. Meanwhile, they're not being able to take down Lebanon because right now Hezbollah is making it impossible for the Israelis. What they're doing is they're trying to get the southern tip, but they can't because Hezbollah has it on hold down. So what they're doing is they're bombing and killing children because they're frustrated. So I'm just saying they want a civil war in Lebanon. If the Lebanese government is stupid, they're going to try to force Hezbollah to drop its weapons. So what we know now is that the Lebanese government is also a proxy of Israel and America. I'm talking about the government because because he doesn't want to do what Hezbollah wants to do, which is to fight, is to resist, is to be a resistance from Israel. He just wants to say, let's make peace. Same thing with the president of Palestine. He doesn't stand with Hamas. You're seeing a pattern here. Hamas are the people who say we don't want occupation. Hezbollah are the people who say we don't want occupation. But the leader, Abbas, the leader of Palestine, say, oh, we must make peace with Israel. We must make. Anybody who's saying that is an agent. You get my point? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying whose side I'm on, but what I'm saying is that without Hamas, Israel would occupy all of Gaza without any problem. Without Hezbollah, Israel would occupy the southern part of Lebanon without any problem. So what they have to do is go to war with these people. So this trilateral agreement is to try to foment a war in Lebanon. And if Lebanon has a civil war, it's going to be just like in 1981 where Israel came in and basically took a mass of land, which they still hold today. Last thing, Israel needs southern Lebanon because that's where they get their natural gas. See how things comes to energy? Israel doesn't need the oil that comes from the Strait of Hormuz. They fund all of their energy by the oil fields in Syria and the gas coming from Lebanon. So that's why Israel needs to occupy southern Lebanon because that's where the natural gas and everything is from. What are your thoughts about this strategy that America and Israel are using?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, you said it. It was well said. As what I feel is going to happen practically, Hezbollah will refuse to surrender his weapons. viewing
Of
them as
course.
its only defense and source of power. Now, the state's obligation, the Lebanese government is under immense pressure to prove it controls its own territory, and they cannot tolerate a heavily armed movement like the Hezbollah. So what will happen is that there will be a flashpoint. If the National Army attempts to forcefully disarm Hezbollah, it's basically they're fanning the flames of civil war in Lebanon. And the key insight
I
here
don't
is
think it'll
that,
happen.
yeah,
Go
agreement
ahead.
shifts the burden of dealing with Hezbollah from Israel to the Lebanese states. The agreement shifts the burden of dealing with Hezbollah from Israel to the Lebanese states. So it forces Beirut basically to choose between the foreign occupation or a destructive civil war. So this is their plan. This is what they want to do because they know that Hezbollah is an integral part of Iran's defense mechanism. So they're trying to weaken
Yes.
Iran by,
Well, not
creating
just
this kind of
Hezbollah. That
scenario.
whole Lebanon landmass is important to keep Iran shielded from Israel.
Yes.
Now, here's what I believe is going to happen. Um, the Lebanese government is not going to, they're not going to fight Hezbollah. And therefore, Israel is not going to leave southern Lebanon. They're going to continue fighting Hezbollah. This is a never-ending war. U.S. will continue to fight Iran. Right now, they can't because they don't have the industrial capacity because all their missiles are done. They'll try to restock. This is just a slow war, which is going to be delayed. If I were Lebanon, just let Israel stay on your southern border. That's better than you doing a civil war. Because if you do a civil war with Hezbollah, that whole country is going to collapse. And then that country will be taken over by Kurds, by ISIS, and other people. You get my point? So I think what we've reached here is a sort of stalemate. What do you think is going to happen here?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's exactly what is going to happen. But I think on the long run, US cannot guarantee strategic support for Israel if it
Oh,
continues
yeah.
its campaign
That's the long
in
picture.
Lebanon. They cannot. So
Same thing of
Israel
Ukraine.
is going to gradually burn themselves out in this campaign.
Oh, yeah. It may take a decade. It may take 15 years. This is unsustainable. And meanwhile, BRICS continues. While Russia and China and Iran are fighting the U.S. with these wars here, they're still making economic growth. They're sustaining the losses and still making growth. So this is just what you're looking at with Israel and America and Europe. It's just the slow death of the empire. Empires don't go down easy, but they die. And they die from internal problems. Inflation, right wing, the up movement of right wing, the breakdown of rights within their countries and everything else. So